Yes, can I cut all this off at once? Right? And my opinion is, yes, we can, because P3 doesn't grow in length. It's only the toe and the horn that grows, so this distance should be safe. Of course, we're going to read the foot and make sure it's okay, but I'm not concerned about cutting it too short, even though there's, 3-4 centimeters long. Moment. Do you use this thickness indication for your work or when you are training people to make them imagine how thick is the toe? Yes, I do. When I'm teaching students, that's what I use. Teaching farm workers also, but we have to remember sometimes these cows have a buckle, so we have to ensure we teach them that part too. So if they have a longer foot, this one has a little bit of a curvature to it. So that changes the thickness on it. So this one looks thicker than it really is because of that curvature that's there.
Do you straighten that curvature for teaching reasons?
Yes.
For both?
Yes.
Okay.
Here you can see every gauge. Yes. Yeah, you can see. See how it go. There's a curvature right at the toe. So I'll remove that with my grinder, and that's going to change how much thickness is left. Because if we teach them not to do that, that's going to change how much thickness is actually left.
Are you doing that now? Okay. But in your normal work, no.
No, if it's not probably not one like this.
You already know, just like you.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, also to me it's important to take a look at the dorsal wall. If there is a curvature, we should leave more thickness.
Okay,
there is another case in which you have to leave more thickness in the toy. It is when you have a part too close.
Okay.
Hele vejen ud. Så går.
Now, if the camera can see this, if you bend down. See, I've removed the curvature. The curvature used to be like this, and now it's like this. And my thickness at the toe is now actually pretty much right where I wanted to be, right where I stopped before we had the discussion about the thickness. Because I was looking at the foot, and my guideline typically is, I don't want to see the white lines connect at the toe if I have the length that I want. That's my guideline visually from the sole. Okay. Like a down in.
Han står bare og gør det. Og så sker det sådan her. Typisk det. Han er jo ikke så det er sådan. Det sidder bare. Han er ikke sådan der, og han kan ikke. I hvert fald lave det, han vil. Så er han ikke mere? Nej, jeg snakker sådan noget på brokken. Godt høre på ned her. Jeg har fået tip på at se ud af, så vi gør noget.
all the way through. So this foot kind of looks straight, this hoof, whereas this one has a bit more of a curvature. So it makes it more difficult to get the right angle in my mind. So I left, probably looks a little bit more tilted toward the abaxial wall than towards the axial wall, instead of being completely level.
Tom? Thank you. You want to go through? Go on, trim. You trim. Unless you have to say something different, you trim. So now Loris is trimming what, should we say, his interpretation of the Dutch way. I do not think it's an easy cloth to trim. It has a quite poor balance. Imagine in this farm that you hardly can see overgrown feet. Why this cow has overgrown feet? It is really because it has a very poor footing. You can notice what Gerard mentioned, that by doing the same movements, the result is different depending the wheel you use. Okay.
Well, it's similar, this claw is similar to the left one. What I did differently is a weight-bearing surface more longer. This because these cows probably, and we can see it on the weight bearing of this claw, usually have the weight bearing on the heel. So to have a claw more stable, to me, it's better to have a longer surface. In contrary of this, here we have that the weight bearing surface is half of the total length of the claw. Here is 2/3. That to me is better for the stability in this way. For the other things, to me, well, I don't lower too much in the dorsal part.
Okay, I think that when we talk about functional, we are functional. We must have a look to the anatomy. This helps to us very much to keep functional. So I would like to make a question to Dr. Morning. Christoph, where do you think the heel finishes and the sole starts? Compare this and this.
I mean, this definitely here, you have kind of a camera on here. This is definitely all the heel, and this is also the part of the foot where you have the first ground contact during locomotion. So that the first landing, the first impact goes onto this area where the white line ends laterally. So if we can maintain horn here, this is part of the shock absorption and force dissipation mechanism, which in this instance is definitely smaller area. But if for other reasons you have to make a deeper or wider model, of course you cannot keep all the heel regions here. But it is certainly from an anatomical point, it's desirable to have a long surface that bears weight all the way along the outer and inner wall, and also have as much as possible of the soft elastic heel horn, which is essential part of this force dissipation mechanism.
What about this particular foot compared to this one where the difference is much bigger?
let's say, is the heel starting here? Is it starting here? Is it starting here?
Well, anatomically, the sole is only the front part, and all the rest would be the bulb or the heel, and the heel is the rear end here, so it's not in ground contact, but still anatomically, this is called the heel. Even though it's not in contact, it's just a shorter heel. Like in two shoes where you have high heels and one is broken off, you still have the heel.
So maybe it's not so easy to establish a perfect clear border, no?
No,
It's a transition area.
It's a sort of continuous transition. Also, if you measure horn hardness, it continuously decreases from the sole via this part of the bulb to the heel. And this definitely is the softest horn. It's like really like a hard rubber you use for your raised pencil.
I should make an observation that goes a little bit from the side Loris was saying. From the mechanical side, I think that the cow needs a flat, clear, balancing surface or stability surface where she puts her step. And my concern about this is that with the desire to keep this higher, I never could say, or I really don't know, if this nice looking weight bearing place is ever used by the cow, or the cow is using this one. I mean, here there is a direction, and here there is another direction. Provided this long foot, probably this cow has not too strong deep racks of tendons that maintain her very much on her heels. I suspect that maybe by working this way, we could have the tendency of the cow of using this instead of this. Of course.
I just want to argue.
I know. So great argument, and so I've struggled with this because when I started trimming, I probably trimmed more like that. I think there's two. So I agree with we want this cow to walk on as much surface as possible. Here we've chosen what that surface is going to be, and here I'm letting the cow decide because I think if she needs more, she'll wear this down more to get what she needs. Here we've decided what's best for her. Here the cow gets to decide. That's my counter argument, however weak it may be, but that's what I'm going with, is that it's equal. And what I aim for is basically I never want to touch my grinder above the sole ulcer spot on the lateral hoof. That's kind of my guideline that I use to see how far I'll go. I could argue maybe I could have gone a bit more, but for discussion purposes, I'm happy with this. And I'll agree, when she walks out, yours is going to look better walking today. This is more of a long-term approach.
It depends. As Adrian told, probably the cow prefers to walk here and not here because it was her habits before, and the glow was so long, probably because she all the weight bearing was in the back side of the weight bearing surface. So the aim of the hoof trimming in this case is to lower the toy and to permit to the cow to have a weight bearing on the toy area. But if she doesn't have a stable surface, she won't use this part. And in the Dutch method, it is said that we should leave the height of the heel as higher as possible. But which is the height of the heel? Is this or is this?
And to make it even more complicated, I would also like to take the floor into consideration. So what do you guys think? I mean, shouldn't we look at the floor, whether it's hard, soft, how abrasive it is, because that's going to have an influence on how this surface is going to develop and change over time, don't you think?
So I think the more abrasive the floor is, because my aim is always to have high heels. If I start doing this and I'm on an abrasive floor, then that's going to wear faster because I've lowered the heel already. Here I have more room for even if it does wear, it goes further. So definitely floor goes into it.
Okay, of course. It is open. If any of you are in science, here we can follow through a really scientific way by doing two things. one can be research and look for evidences, and the other one is using democracy and vote and see who wins the bet. Another last comment, because I think we must finish, we have in time, is comparing both methods. If we can have the camera focusing both at the same time. For me, what is clear here is the lack of symmetry. He's very much concentrated on working in this lateral flow, especially in modeling, compared to that one where he is modeling more lateral flow, but also quite a lot here, very much with the aim, I understand, and I think him so, to make the air penetrate here and to make manure getting out much more than for functional position or mechanical risks. No? Is it, Loris? Okay, I think time is over. Daniel?
Time is over. Okay.
I know you're organizing these people. We can have a last question if you want to make some.
Any last question? You have any question? Okay.
So now, Ryder Cup, we are voting. Who are supporters of our visitor